Biafra Liberation Army Network, coming to you again. Please do subscribe, like, share, and comment.
In a moment that could rewrite the history of the Biafra struggle, Simon Nyoku Ekpa stood before Pihayavi District Court and calmly admitted what the world has only speculated. He is the Prime Minister of the Biafran government in exile. But this was no ordinary confession. With unwavering conviction, he unveiled why he took on this role. And it has nothing to do with war, violence, or rebellion. Instead, it's about justice, diplomacy, and a silenced people trying to be heard. What drove this man to lead a government that exists outside its homeland? Why are Western nations ignoring the deadly conflict that birthed it? And why is Finland, the so-called defender of human rights, aligning with a government accused of brutalizing its own people? Simon Nyoku Ekpa's revelation could change everything, from how the international community views the Biafra question to whether you will still believe what the mainstream media has been telling you. This isn't just another headline. This is a fight for survival. Simon Ekpa admitted in Pihayavi District Court that he is the Prime Minister of the Biafran government in exile. He explained that his appointment followed escalated violence in the southeastern region of Nigeria, and the aim was to diplomatically pursue Biafra's independence. Simon Ekpa stated that he was elected into the position after being contacted by concerned Nigerians, and emphasized that the Biafran government in exile was established to inform the international community about attacks on Biafrans, not to incite violence. He clarified in court that the Biafran government in exile's objective is peaceful and political, not militant, focusing on global diplomatic engagements, including contact with members of the United States Congress, though his planned US visit was cancelled due to his arrest. And now, the world is watching. Simon Ekpa did not deny his role or affiliation with the Biafran government in exile in court. Instead, he defended it as a democratic and peaceful body, pursuing self-determination for Biafra through non-violent means. This courtroom revelation received minimal coverage in Nigerian media, despite its significance in Simon Ekpa's ongoing legal battles in Finland and its broader implications for the Biafra movement. Dr. David Yono Matsanga, a Ugandan human rights activist, criticized Finnish President Alexander Stubb for hypocrisy, accusing Finland of aligning with Nigeria despite its poor human rights record, while claiming to uphold international law. It started as a moment of silence in the courtroom of Pihajajärvi District Court in Finland, but quickly evolved into something more profound, a confession, a clarification, and perhaps even a revelation that could alter the way the world views the struggle for Biafra. At the heart of this dramatic moment was Simon Nyoku Ekpa, a man who has been on the headlines of both admiration and controversy. What made this courtroom appearance particularly striking was not just that he admitted to being the Prime Minister of the Biafran government in exile, but that he offered a calm, firm explanation of why this government was formed in the first place. To fully grasp the weight of Simon Nyoku Ekpa's statement, one must first understand the circumstances that led to this moment. The southeastern part of Nigeria, home to the Egwu people, has been engulfed in waves of violence, marginalization, military invasions, and deadly clashes between pro-Biafra supporters and Nigerian security forces. This violence, according to many locals and observers, did not start overnight. It is the result of years, if not decades, of tension, mistrust, and aggressive military presence. The people in that region have often complained about being treated like second-class citizens in their own country. These tensions have only intensified in recent years, especially following the arrest and prolonged detention of Nnamdi Kanu, the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra. Against this backdrop, Simon Nyoku Ekpa made it known in court that he was not operating as a lone actor. He stated clearly that he had been contacted by concerned Nigerians, both at home and abroad, who were troubled by the escalating violence in the southeastern region. It was through their urging, according to him, that the Biafran government in exile was born. He emphasized that this was not a self-imposed title or a fantasy role. It was a responsibility he assumed following a collective decision made by others who believed that something had to be done. So what exactly is this Biafran government in exile? According to Simon Nyoku Ekpa, It is a diplomatic body created to inform the international community about the attacks, the killings, and the oppression that Biafrans are experiencing in Nigeria. Its formation was intended to provide a legitimate, organized platform through which the grievances of Biafrans could be communicated to global powers without the baggage of militancy or violence. That distinction is crucial, and he repeated it in court. The goal of the Biafran government in exile is peaceful. It is political. It is diplomatic. It is about self-determination, not insurrection. This position challenges the popular narrative that has long been painted around Simon Njoku Ekpa, especially in the Nigerian media and even among certain foreign observers. For months, he has been accused of inciting violence, of being the voice behind separatist propaganda, and of leading a movement with aggressive intentions. But during his courtroom testimony, he made it very clear that his government in exile is not involved in violence or armed rebellion. Instead, it functions like a shadow diplomatic mission. He spoke about planned visits and dialogues with members of the United States Congress, meetings that were unfortunately cancelled due to his arrest and legal troubles in Finland. Now, what was it that provoked the formation of this government in exile? That question requires careful reflection. Simon Njoku Ekpa pointed to the escalation of violence in southeastern Nigeria, which includes but is not limited to military raids, house-to-house searches, extrajudicial killings, and arbitrary detentions. Local reports from areas like Orlu, Aba, Ihiala, and Enugu have repeatedly confirmed that armed confrontations between Nigerian soldiers and pro-Biafra groups have left civilian populations deeply traumatized. Women have been widowed, children have been orphaned, whole villages have been deserted. It is this reality, this humanitarian disaster unfolding quietly, while the rest of the world looks elsewhere, that Simon Njoku Ekpa claims prompted the need for a body that could speak for the voiceless. However, this admission in court also comes with consequences, both legal and political. Legally, Simon Njoku Ekpa's role in a government that is not recognized by the Nigerian state can be used against him in the Finnish court. His opponents argue that this admission confirms his involvement in a secessionist movement, which violates certain international norms depending on the laws of the host country. Politically, it raises new questions for Finland itself. To what extent should it involve itself in the internal matters of another sovereign state? And can it claim neutrality or adherence to international law while aligning itself with a government accused of human rights abuses? This is where the voice of Dr. David Yono Matsanga becomes significant. A Ugandan human rights activist known for his outspoken positions, Dr. David Yono Matsanga criticized Finnish President Alexander Stubb directly. He did not mince words. He accused Finland of hypocrisy, of claiming to uphold international human rights, while at the same time detaining a man whose only crime, according to him, is advocating for self-determination and trying to inform the world about state violence. Dr. David Yono Matsanga's critique adds a layer of international pressure and exposes the contradiction many African activists see in Western foreign policies. While countries like Finland are quick to condemn state repression in places like Sudan or Myanmar, they appear largely silent when the victims are Igbo people in Nigeria. Despite these setbacks and the limited attention from the mainstream Nigerian media, Simon Njoku Ekpa's courtroom testimony could mark a turning point in how the Biafra movement is perceived globally. For years, the Nigerian government has insisted that the movement is nothing more than a group of violent agitators with no political vision. But Simon Njoku Ekpa's explanation introduces a new element: structure, planning, diplomacy. His testimony suggests that the Biafra cause is not being run by angry mobs on the streets, but by individuals who are trying to play the long diplomatic game. One of the biggest problems highlighted by this situation is the information gap. For so long, the suffering of Biafrans has been underreported, dismissed, or even intentionally hidden.